The days when men like Ryman Redwine and Prince Aemon the Dragonknight wore the white cloak are gone to dust and song. Valo Mugolas, welcome to another episode of The Black Dread. I'm Billie Jean, the Last Targaryen. Today, we are going to talk about the famous, the wonderful Aemon Targaryen, also known as, or I should say, better known as, Prince Aemon the Dragonknight of the Kingsguard, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Aemon the Dragonknight. This is a little segment on The Black Dread that I like to call Who? Because there are so many characters in A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones that some of them might get glossed over and some of them, get a lot more mention than they deserve. And I want to make sure that everyone out there knows who Aemon the Dragonknight is. His, like it says, gone from dust and song. We have to keep singing this song. We have to keep his name alive. He was an amazing man. He was an incredible knight. He was one of the most honorable characters in the whole A Song of Ice and Fire series. And today we are going to just give a little history about him. So I'm going to try to keep this very simple because, again, there are so many characters and they all have similar names. We've got a bunch of Aegons and Aemons and Davons and Darrens and Viserys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep it very simple to the players who are important in Aemon's main story. So now, when we talk about famous members of the Kingsguard, now we all know the infamous one, Jaime the Kingslayer, but when we talk about the famous members of the Kingsguard, we talk about Barristan Selmy, we talk about Duncan the Tall, the Sword of the Morning, and then every once in a while someone will mention the Dragonknight, but he was born in the mid 100s, like 160. So we didn't get to really see him in play during Game of Thrones, which takes place about 300 AC, which is after Conquest. And there's a new show that's going to be premiering on next year on HBO called House of the Dragon. That is about the Dance of the Dragon, which takes place before the Dragonknight. So we're not going to really get to see him in play for a while. So I want to make sure that his tale lives on. So let's talk about him. He is the son of Viserys II. He's a good king. He wasn't, too remarkable at this point. So we're just going to he's the son of Viserys. His brother is Aegon IV. And his sister is Nerys. Now, who is Aegon IV? He would be gone to be known as Aegon the Unworthy. Ooh. All right, so let's dig in. So when he was born, everyone was in King's Land is, happy. He's a new prince. Oh, he's a wonderful new prince. He's handsome and he's got the silver hair and the violet eyes. He's going to be a good prince. He's born his mother had like this hard birth throughout this really big fire. So it's like, the prophecy, he's going to be a great, great man. So as he's born, let's go check on the baby. They go to his, his nursery. And what do they find? When a Targaryen baby is born, they place a dragon egg in his cradle with him. So when they get to go check on the baby, little old Aegon is in there beating him with the dragon head. Like just hitting him with the dragon egg, just hitting him. So I'm like, this guy is a toddler and he's already earning that name Unworthy right out the gate. So right out the gate, we already know that this guy ain't beep, So now he wasn't really close with Aegon, obviously, but he was really close with his sister Nerys. Now, if you know Targaryens, when I say close with his sister, he was close with his sister. Like he liked her, but he's the younger son, so he's not going to get to marry her. So his dad, Viserys, doing what Targaryens do, they marry Aegon and Nerys together. Now, it's been told from the scrolls that I found and translated, because, my Valyrian is a little rusty. So the things I found, I translated. It sounds like to me that during the bedding ceremony, Nerys was crying. She was just crying. I don't want to do this. Not because I'm scared, but I just don't want him. And it's said that Aemon and his brother Aegon fought during the wedding. So it's like, okay, so there's always some tension here about the sister. So now remember these little details. Keep this in mind because it's going to come back when when it's his turn. So right now we have the king is Aegon III. It's going on, and he's just this fierce warrior, and he's wonderful with the sword and with the joust. So at 17 is around the age he was when his sister gets married. He decides, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and join the Kingsguard. And the Kingsguard is like the Night's Watch, where you get there, no kids, no wife, no baby, no sex, none of that. So Aemon was on some, if I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. He said, if I can't have her, I'm joining the Kingsguard. It's over for me. And he knew that when he was 17 years old. It's over for me. I want her. I can't have her. Kingsguard. Which was, okay, it was good for the realm because he was noble and honorable and, why not? So one of the first things that, the remarkable events that happens is the Dornish invasion. Now, at this time, the king is Daeron the First. So they are invading Dorne because at this point, Dorne is still not 100% rocking with the Seven Kingdoms yet. So they go to invade Dorne, and while he's there, you know how the Dorne love their poison and all. So while he's there, someone shoots an arrow at Daeron, and Aemon, the noble knight that he is, throws himself in front of the arrow and takes that poison arrow to save the king. He literally jumped in front of a poison arrow. It's like a bullet to us. He jumped in front of a poison arrow. Now, whether he knew the arrow was poison or not, but these are the people of Dorne, so we know how much they like using poison. And we saw what Oberyn Martell did to the mountain. They covered their blades in poison. So he jumps in front of it and he takes that blade, that arrow straight to, did I save the king? Did we do it? Did we win? So, they send him back to King's Landing. Okay, no, you're fine. We're going to go ahead and give you honorable discharge from this battle. Go back to King's Landing. So he goes to King's Landing and he heals. And what does he do when he's healed? Gets up, goes right back to Dorne and beats a Dornish champion and continues fighting in the rebellion and continues fighting in the war. And there's other Kingsguard members. And he's just still, it's like, no, I cannot abandon my king. What a wonderful guy. So at this point now, there's rebellion going on in Dorne, and some of the Kingsguard gets killed, and one of them, it is said to have yielded, which Aemon the Dragonknight thought was completely dishonorable that he yielded to the Dornishmen. What happened was, during this rebellion, Aemon is kidnapped and captured. Now, the people who captured him, like I said, I'm not gonna, force all of these names down your throat right now. Just know that he was captured, and they take him and they strip him naked and they put him in a crow's cage and hold it up over thousands of poisonous vipers. And he's just here dangling above these vipers. So now in King's Landing, the next king after Daeron the First is Baelor. And we know Baelor as Baelor the Blessed. So Baelor the Blessed, this is his cousin. Aemon the Dragonknight is his cousin. So Baelor's like, I will go release my cousin from Dorne. So they've got some Dornish prisoners in the black cells. So he takes the Dornish prisoners, give them a horse, and let them go to Sunspear while he walks barefoot. I'm so holy. I'm going to walk barefoot in the light of the seven, and they're going to release my cousin. So Baelor the Blessed get there and is like, release my cousin in the name of the seven. They're like, nah. So he's like, oh, okay. So he tells Aemon, I won't forget you. I will come back. So he's barefoot again. He's walking to Sunspear and he's like, release my cousin. And they're like, all right, here's what we'll do. We'll give you the key. And if you can get him out, then you can have him. So now there's all of these snakes and the key, and he's up in this cage. So what does Aemon say? Being the most honorable knight that he can be. No, your grace, save yourself. Don't come to get me. Leave me to die in this cage. I know we're cousins and we cool and all of that, but leave me to die here in this cage. And Baelor's all like, no, in the name of the father and the warrior, they will have me go straight through these snakes and they will dare bite me because I am Baelor and I'm so holy that the snakes couldn't even dare bite me. So what does Baelor do? He holds his head up and he's walking barefoot. He's pious. He's going to save Aemon the Dragon. I'm going to get my cousin. And Aemon's like, no, go back, save yourself. Now, some people will tell you the story that the snakes, they saw Baelor and they would not even look up at him. They wouldn't dare bite him. But then there are other tales that say, yeah, he got bit about 15 times. Yeah, no, he may even got bit hundreds of times. Dude, you just walk through snakes. You got bit. So by the time he gets, he's like getting bit by the snakes, but he's still, I'm so pious. I'm Baelor the Blessed and I'm walking to get him. Oh, that bit me. I can still do it. And Aemon's like, go, cousin, go. And he finally gets there. Now, mind you, Aemon the Dragonknight has been captured for months and months, stripped naked. I don't know what kind of abuses they did to him, but they got him there and he's all just weak and I've been in this cage and my cousin is coming to save me. So Baelor finally makes it to the cage. He takes the key, he opens the gate and then collapses, I guess from the poison and the venom. What does Aemon the Dragonknight do? Picks Baelor up, fresh out of captivity, picks him up, puts him on his back, saves him. They pull themselves out of the snake pit and he's free. And now he's walking with his passed out comatose cousin on his back. Baelor went to go save him, and Aemon the Dragonknight ended up saving Baelor. So he's walking now. I'm going to just walk back to King's Landing with my cousin on my back, naked. So there's some Septon who's on the road. He sees him like, damn, that's not a good look. Let me at least help the brother out. So he gives him an ass, not gives him some ass. He gives him an ass donkey, and he gives him some clothes. I'm like, yo, I mean, y'all out in the street naked, and you just walking, the dude is passed out. I mean, let me at least hook you up with something. I am a Septon. I mean, in the light of Selvin and all that stuff, I am a Septon. Let me at least help, So they get to Storm's End, and it's like 6 months before he even wakes up to be able to travel to King's Landing. So in the 6 months, immediately after his rescue, he is now taking care of the king. He took those words, the King's Guard, to heart. I mean, he took that to heart. Before he even considered himself, he saved Baelor. But he didn't have to, because, he was, he's dying, and he could have just been like, well, I was too weak, I couldn't carry him. But he carried him, he kept him at Storm's End until he was safe enough to travel, well enough to travel to King's Landing. Wonderful. So now Baelor, he was so pious that he didn't want to have sex with his wife, so he has no heir. So the next heir has to become Viserys the second, which is their dad, Aegon and Aemon's dad. So he becomes king. Nothing really great happens until Aegon the Fourth takes the Iron Throne. Aegon the Unworthy in training. So one of the first things that happens when Aegon is king is, he's got Aegon's son with the sister that Aemon really loves, is Daeron the Second. So, we had Daeron the First. This is Daeron the Second. So now this is his son. And, Aemon the Dragonknight still like, I love her and everything. I'm just going to do my king thing. And let me just be my king's guard here until I die, because I don't really have nothing else to live for at this point, So now Daeron the Second is talking to his dad, Aegon the Fourth. And Aegon's like, we're going to go back to Dorne. We're going to invade. I want them in the Seven Kingdoms. And he's like, no, Daeron the Second's like, no, we shouldn't really do that. You shouldn't really invade Dorne. And I'm going to tell you why, blah, 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 blah. He goes to tell him why. So Aegon is like, did he just challenge me? So he goes, come here. He starts telling people in the Red Keep, yo, I heard he ain't even my son. I heard Nerys was sleeping with him. I heard that's Aemon's really son. And if that's true, then he's not really the heir. He's a bastard, so he can't tell me what to do about Dorne anyway. Now, Aegon's like, now, if you want to go spread that rumor, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but that's what I heard. So, ironically, this rumor about Daeron being a bastard shows up just in time for him to, just as he was not wanting to go to war with Dorne. Oh, so conveniently, you are not the father. Oh, he runs out and runs off stage, and they chase him backstage. It's like, okay. So now you don't realize what you've done, Aegon the Unworthy, because now you've just accused your wife of adultery. So that's punishable by death. And that's Aemon. That's his own sister, and that's Aemon's. That's my heart right there. So I demand a child by combat, and I will be her champion. So Aegon's like, I can't stand him. So what does he do? He just kills the guy in combat, and now people love Aemon even more, because now the gods themselves are smiling upon Aemon. So it's like, Aegon's like, yo, I can't get this guy out of my life. Yo, now I tried to set him up to look bad, and he comes out looking even better. And, Aemon's like, get at me, bro. You know what I'm saying? What you want? So that's that. So now Aegon's, he's running around. He's got mistress after mistress after mistress after mistress. So he has this other mistress who gives one of his cousins and gives birth to Daemon. So now, because he's already got beef with his son, Daeron II, I'm trying to keep these names, separate for you. So Daemon is his bastard son, but his real son, Daeron II, is, I'm getting ready to be king. I'm next in line. When you die, Dad, it's going to be me. And Aegon just being so petty and unworthy. He was just like, most people, when they have a bastard, they'll move him away because it's like, bastards could end up causing trouble. So what does Aegon do? He takes his bastard and he legitimizes him. And he even gives them the Valyrian steel sword called Blackfire. And hence, Daemon Waters becomes the famous, or depending how you look at it, infamous Daemon Blackfire, who would go on to lead the Blackfire Rebellion, thanks to Aegon IV legitimizing him, because otherwise you would have just been Daemon Waters. And as soon as people hear that last name Waters, you're a bastard. You don't have nothing to say. You sit down and shut up. You're just a bastard. You know what I'm saying? Your last name Snow. Oh, sit down and shut up, you bastard. So now here's Aegon IV. This is him sitting on his throne. What else can I do? Whose life can I make miserable? I'm just so angry to be alive, and Aemon's like, whatever, I'm still Kingsguard. Just keep my name out your mouth and we won't have no trouble. And Daemon Blackfire is looking at Daeron II, and they're just like, wait till this man die or we gonna have some fun. So now there's a tournament. This is like one of the last things that happens before his death. There's a tournament, and Aegon forbids Aemon the Dragonknight to ride in the tournament because he's like, if I let him ride in it, he's going to win. And what he's going to do is he's going to crown Nerys, my wife. He's going to crown her the queen of love and beauty, the same way that Rhaegar did to Lyanna in front of his wife. But Aemon said, no, I know he's going to do that. I know how humiliating that would be for Nerys as the queen to have her just nasty husband give the crown to one of his mistresses right in front of her in the whole kingdom. Rhaegar Targaryen, you should learn. But anyway, so he's like, to protect her from being embarrassed, he decides he's going to enter the tournament as a mystery knight, the Knight of Tears. So he gets in the tourney as the mystery knight, and then of course he wins, and he hands the crown to Nerys, and her honor is restored, and she's just so happy now. And Aegon, I just hate him, hate. So how does Aemon the Dragonknight die? This is why we still sing his song today, and why we still sing his praises, and nothing that Aegon IV has done can make us change the way we feel about him. We don't believe that adultery stuff. He still died protecting Aegon IV's life from an assassination attempt. So after all that he put him through, from beating him in the head with a dragon from the day he was born up until trying to sun him in front of the whole kingdom, and all of this he does with his bastards and just disrespecting the woman he loves, and he's just, I got her and I'm gonna treat her bad. I know you want her, but guess what? I don't want her either, but I still got her and you don't have her, and that's right. So he still dies protecting him. So now that Aegon IV is dead, that Aemon the Dragonknight is dead because of Aegon the Unworthy, so now he's even more popular than before. It's like, he died protecting his king. And Aegon's like, I can't do anything to make this man look bad in people's eyes. He's like, oh, I hate him. So now here's just an unworthy King Aegon IV. He's just sitting on his throne. So one of the last things he does before he dies, because he's just pathetic and miserable, is he legitimizes all of his bastards. And we know what kind of trouble that caused. Oh, you don't know what kind of trouble that caused? Well, stay tuned. Watch my videos. Anyway, so yeah, all of that trouble, the Blackfire Rebellion, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these Blackfire rebellions that went from that time all the way up until Barristan Selmy was the last one to put down the Blackfire Rebellion, because Aegon IV just lived in the shadow of his brother Aemon and just couldn't take it. And that's why I feel it's important that we make sure his story gets told over and over again, because we don't get to see him in action, not even in flashbacks. And I don't really know what they're going to do in terms of House of the Dragon, because, House of the Dragon, because he came after, after the House of the Dragon, the Dance of the Dragon was settled. So, when do we get to see Aemon? Y'all keep shoving the Lannisters down our throat, and y'all shoving everybody down our throat. When can we get to see Aemon, who deserves for his story to be told, So that's why I am here. I want to tell his story. So I just want to ask, what do you think? In terms of the Kingsguard, who did more? Because we know Barristan Selmy saved Aerys out of a dungeon But, that was, he did a couple of things. And we know that he was so courageous and so bold that Robert decided to pardon him from Rhaegar's Kingsguard and bring him on his own. So we know Barristan Selmy. We know Duncan the Tall, who also slayed one of the Blackfires and helped put down the Blackfire Rebellion. We know some of their stories, but it's like, how much do we know about Aemon the Dragonknight? And shouldn't his story be told just as much as Barristan Selmy? I know they mentioned him in there, but shouldn't we all know this? We all know these stories of the things that the Starks did and that some of the older Targaryens did. But Aemon, he deserves to be recognized. So, Aemon the Dragonknight, this one is for you. Vala Morghulis. So, that is... Oh, wait, what's that? Okay, so yeah, I hear my maester at the door. He's got my giant glass of milk of the poppy. I'm about to take that down, settle here into the Maiden Vault, and I guess I'll catch you guys next time on an episode of The Black Dread. Billie Jean, the Last Targaryen, Vala Morghulis, Vala Duhayas.